Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jenny. Today's video is going to be a demo, review, and swatches of the Bad Habit Athena palette. Just wanted to show you the inside real quick and show you how beautiful it is. Like all of my other reviews, I am going to go ahead and start with the look, the review, and then the swatches. So let's go ahead and start the look. My eyes are already primed, so to go ahead and start, I'm going to take the shade Purity and I'm going to put this all over my lids to set the primer. Taking a fluffy brush, I'm going to take a mixture of Valor and Lure and put that in the outer V and into the crease. Going into the shade Justice, I'm going to do the same thing. Taking a flat kind of packing brush, I'm going to go back into that shade Justice and put it all over my eyelid. With a smaller blending brush, I'm going to go into the shade Power and put that on the outer parts of the eye up into the crease. Going into the shade Clever, I'm going to put that right on the outer corner to deepen. I'm going to go in with a little bit of the NYX glitter glue and put that on the center of my lids. Couldn't use this palette without using the glitter, so going into the glitter called Daring with the brush, I'm going to pat that on top of the glitter glue. I'm going to go in with my finger and just kind of pat it on top to add more glitter. Now I'm going to take my Intense Ink eyeliner by e.l.f. and I'm just going to do a line across my lash line. So now that the top lid is done, I'm going to go ahead and put on mascara, fake lashes, finish the face, and I'll be back to do the lower lash line. So now that everything else is done, I'm going to go ahead and start with the lower lash line. I'm going to take that mixture of Valor and Lure and put that all over the lower lash line. Going into the Justice shade, I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing. Taking a flat definer and going into the shade Power, I'm going to put that on the outer part of the lower lash line. Taking a little tiny bit of the NYX glitter glue, I'm going to put that right underneath my eyeball. Going back into the Daring glitter, I am going to pat that on top of the glitter glue. So I did go ahead and take a mixture of Fierce and Epic for the inner corners, but now the eye look is complete. Let's go ahead and start the review. To start the review, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about Bad Habit Beauty first. Bad Habit Beauty is known for being a dupe brand where their specialty is duping other palettes. The Athena palette in particular is supposed to be a dupe for the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, I believe is the name of that one, but that's what this is a dupe for. These palettes are sold on the Hush app exclusively, so you can only get them from the Hush app. You cannot get them from the Hush website. This palette retails for $12 on the Hush app. This palette claims to be PETA certified and cruelty free. In this palette, you get a really nice mix of finishes. You get 8 mattes, 9 shimmers, and 1 glitter. These shadows are really, really nice. The only other Bad Habit Beauty palette I have is the Retro Love palette. I have a review of that and I will link it up here for you in case you're interested. But of the two, I think that this palette is better quality and I think these shadows are a little bit better quality. Just like that palette though, the mattes are much better than the shimmers. The shimmers are nice, but I have to use a glitter glue with them. In order to get the full color payoff of the shimmers and the lasting power, I have to use a glitter glue. I feel like this palette is catered more toward those who enjoy more bold looks, because while you can get some neutral toned looks out of this palette, you're mostly going to end up getting some bold looks with all of the deep reds and the purples and stuff like that. Overall, the quality of this palette is very, very nice. The cardboard itself is very sturdy and it has a nice magnetic closure. The magnetic closure is decent. It's not great. I don't know that I would travel with this palette. because of that. I have touched the Huda Beauty palette in a store once, and I can say I obviously can't talk about the quality of the Huda palette because I don't own it, but just based off of swatching and touching, swatching, pigmentation is about the same between the palettes, but texture-wise, these mattes are softer than the Huda palette, and these shimmers are not as chunky, I guess, as the Huda palette, because I bought this palette specifically for this Epic shade because it has that really beautiful blue duochrome in it, and I really thought that this shade was beautiful, and so I swatched the Huda palette shade, whatever that shade name is, that looks just like this one, and it was super, super chunky and not nearly as smooth as these. So if you're looking for a dupe for that palette, I'd say that this is pretty spot on, shade-wise. Formula-wise, they are different, though. Overall, this is an absolutely excellent palette, and I highly recommend it if having a duped palette doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother me. So if you're looking for a nice Huda dupe, or these colors just call to you, then I say that this is a really good product for the price range. Since it's only $12, I'd say this is a really good product. So now that I have reviewed for you, I'm going to go ahead and start with the swatches, and I'm going to go row by row. So this is row 1. We have Fierce, Triumph, and these are the only 2 shimmers in this row, Valor, Velour, whatever, Purity, Truth, and Heroic. Row 1. Here is the second row. First 3 are shimmers, second group of 3 are mattes. We have Gleam, which is kind of like that MAC blue brown that, and like the one that's in the Wet n Wild palette, that's very similar to those. We have Epic, which is that really cool pink blue duochrome. Medusa, Justice, I love this color. Almost every single look I have done was with Justice. I cannot get enough of this purple. Lore, and Power. Here is row 2. Okay, so here is the final row. There are 4 shimmers, 1 glitter, and a matte in this row. And we have Divine, Cunning, which is kind of like a goldish pink duochrome, Wisdom, Prize, Daring, which is the beautiful glitter, and Clever, which is a nice chocolatey matte. This is a beautiful, beautiful row. So that's all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my Athena palette review and demo. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and if you would like to subscribe, please feel free, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.